workshop to show you what we can provide in a more in-depth setting. So 2 things I really want to go over today are going to be how we stop overpaying to vendors and to the government. And you might be thinking, well, how do we stop overpaying to the government with Schooley Mitchell? We're going to talk about that in quite a second here. So, who is Schooley Mitchell? We are the cost reduction experts. So, we are the largest independent cost reduction firm within North America, and what independent means is that we are not a broker. We are not consultants. We receive no kickbacks and no residuals from any of the vendors that we consult with. We are strictly consultants working in the best interest of our clients. Since we have been in business, we have a book of business of over 32,000 clients, and with those clients, we have documented over $1 billion in savings. To maintain those relationships with vendors and enhance services and pricing is what our main goal is. We don't want your head office person, your CFO, your CEO being on the telephone with AT&T and Spectrum or Verizon for hours on end. Let us handle that for you. Let us look at your vendors of what helps work your office day to day rather than having you take your time away from something that might be more money potential for the business. On average, we can find about 28% savings for our clients, and out of that 28% requires an 8 out of 10 requires no vendor change. So 80% of the time, we're not trying to change your vendors. We're not getting you to switch. We're just trying to find you savings and find you money. So some areas that we consult on, you can see here, we consult on things such as telecom, payment processing, shipping, waste, e-signature. The list goes on and on and on of what we can consult to. And this is all, again, risk-free, meaning if we do not find you savings, there is no fee to the client. I just want to reiterate that. No fee to the client if no fees or savings are found. Now, I know these are a lot of different cost categories, and you're like, well, I don't want to be here until 8 o'clock at night, Maci. I want to be able to get on with my day. So we're going to focus on just a couple of these today, and those are going to be utilities and the FICA payroll taxes.
You did bring wine.
I did bring wine as well, yeah. So obviously everyone stay longer, obviously. So I want to reiterate why people need Schooley Mitchell. Most businesses actually don't realize they need us until they realize they need us and when it's too late. So most businesses don't realize that vendor billing errors happen more commonly than you think. I was talking with one individual earlier this week and they said, well, how do you know there's a billing error? And I asked them, well, how do you know there's a billing error? Do you know the communication between vendors of each telecom, your wireless, your merchant provider, your waste provider, and things of that? And they said, actually, no. I was like, that's awesome. I have 130 individuals that do. And that's what they do day in, day out. Review those languages, review those contracts, review those bills to make sure if you're overpaying or getting overcharged, that's getting back into your business bank account. Wrong rate structures. I had someone else ask me, well, how can you consult on utilities if you're set on a rate structure? Well, my question back is, how do you know you're set up on the right rate structure to begin with? They're like, well, I don't know. They just said go with this utility provider. Exactly. You just signed up for a utility provider without doing any further research. And in Ohio especially, we're a deregulated state, meaning you can go to different brokers, you can go to different providers for your utilities such as natural gas, water and sewage, and electric. Now, what Schooley Mitchell can provide is a lot different, and we'll get into that into a second. Missed tax opportunities. How many people do you think, on average, miss tax opportunities, not just in your personal life, but in business itself? And businesses don't realize, and even on the personal side, until it gets around to this time of year, mid-March, early April, oh boy, we got to take a look at FICA, we got to take a look at this, make sure we're paying Uncle Sam, make sure we're paying everything we need to. Another thing is rising payroll costs. So not only is there a rising cost in the taxes, employees want to be paid more. So how can you do that? We're going to find out today. So utilities. Like I said, this is going to be electricity, natural gas, and water and sewage. So what do we do for utilities? Why are we consulting on these, and how can you even consult on utilities? This is a great question that I love would love to answer for you. So what we do here is many organizations don't know if they're on the right plan or pricing because, like I said earlier, they just sign up for the first rate that comes along. They don't even know if they're on the right platform if things are being increased or decreased for seasonality as well. And that happens with a lot of different businesses. There are a lot of factors that can affect pricing, such as, like I mentioned, seasonality, time of use, meter tolerization, curable rates, as well as sales tax exemptions, and billing and metering errors can occur. Isn't that crazy? I never knew meter errors could occur. I thought they just went off of what the meter said. How do you know that's what you were using for that time period? You might be paying an average of this a month, but I'm actually not in office for 3 days of the week anymore, but I'm still paying the same price I did last year when I was in the office those 3 days. So something's not adding up here, and it's affecting me and overhead for my business. So how can we help? So we help businesses that are going to be spending $10,000 per month or more in utilities. Big people that are hitting hard for this are going to be people in the manufacturing space, restaurant space, larger businesses, properties as in apartment complexes, people in larger property areas for businesses, business complexes, as well as multi-location companies. Just because you have one office here, but you have 5 offices here too, that's under one business charge, correct? So it might be 2,000, 2,000, 2,000, 2,000 times 7, and that's something we can take a look at for you. So, or anyone that just says our utility bill just keeps going up and up. Who here is familiar with Columbus and the data centers? Probably everyone here, and everyone is kind of hitting that cost on their end for just personal side. Think of how it's hitting the businesses. And then it hits the businesses because they can't pay the bill, so they increase their pricing. Then it affects you as the consumer, and what do you as the consumer do? Go somewhere else. Or just stop supporting that business in general, and that business ends up going under, and they're like, oh, I don't know why we're not having sales. I don't know why morale is down. And it's just because they're having to pay too much in overhead for their utilities. That is a simple fix we can come in and do for them. Something that we're able to do with their utilities too is it's no meter change, no provider change. It is just a back-end coding on your meter system to make sure that if there are billing errors, they're getting caught, rate changes are being applied, so on and so forth. On average, we can find 20 to 30% savings for a business. And here you can see by the industries that we tend to help with their utilities. These are the average annual savings and then the high annual savings we can find on just utilities. As you can see, agriculture, number 1 here, which I'm sure most people are like, but agriculture is not a business. Especially in the state of Ohio, we have more corn farms, dairy farms, soybean farms, or tomato farms than anyone else in the country. So this is a big point of where we source our food as consumers. So if they're getting hit this hard, that's something we need to help them so that us as consumers and just ordinary people can stay up to date with our food processes. But that's a conversation for another time. I won't get on my high horse there. So now I want to transition into FICA tax strategies. So how can the Federal Insurance Contribution Acts help you in finding savings for your everyday employees? I'm sure if you ever look at your pay stub, you see, all right, so this is how much I made this week, but how much did I bring home this week is always the biggest question people ask. And you see, all right, Uncle Sam took that, Uncle Sam took that. They also took this, this, and that. Oh my gosh, you can't control it. So you just say, all right, whatever it is, and cash your check. But what if we could help you to stick it to Uncle Sam and get something a little bit more out of your paycheck? So, like I said, why? It lowers overall health care costs, improve employees' overall health, as well as better benefits for better pay for your employees. Employees can become more proactive about their health, and there's increased payroll for their employees. This is all what can be done through our FICA tax savings program for you. You do not have to have a program set up with us if you don't want to change your benefit providers, because guess what? we coexist with those benefit providers already. If you're looking for a benefits provider, we are more than happy to help you set that up, but right now we're looking for people that have providers already set up, and this is an overall reduction in your FICA tax credits. So average savings is about $575 per employee per year. Imagine if you had 100 employees saving $575 a year annually on average. That adds up. So it also can be administered alongside existing business benefits. Like I said, wellness programs, if you already have a wellness program or another insurance program, this coincides with that. Does not replace it, it coincides with it. As well as there's no out-of-pocket cost. Zero pay to the employee and to the employer, and they receive increased wealth benefits as well as a small increase in their net pay, which we're going to go over here right now. So right here are two examples of the employee and the employer. I'm going to go over the employee first. So we can see that once the employee signs up for our preventative workplace program, they are able to see their monthly deduction allowed is negative $1,200. Their approximated rate structures are $300, and their monthly plan fee is $190. Approximately monthly pay increase for the employee, $110. Net annually is about $1,320 annually. For someone that is making $1,800 a month on average, or a week on average, this is almost life-changing for them. This is life-changing for almost everyone. This is extra Christmas gifts. This is extra, oh, I need to pay the tax man again, so going towards that. Plus the added benefits is there's unlimited doctor and urgent care visits. There's unlimited vet visits. How many people would love to take their dog, cat, iguana, pet, whatever emotional support animal you have to the vet unlimitedly? I know I would for sure. Another thing we can do is unlimited prescriptions. 8 out of 10 people in the United States probably have a prescription of some sort that they need at some point in their life. It would be nice to have that at a reduction in cost rather than having to go through GoodRx, go through our provider, and this. Have it all in one place cohesively. As well as there's preventative care just ingrained into the program. Now for the employer, you can see here that the monthly deduction allowed is at the $1,200, like we said. The employer FICA tax reduction is at 7.65%. Your monthly FICA savings is at about 91.80 cents. Monthly fee plan, minus 44. Employees' net monthly cost reduction is $47.80, and their net FICA savings per employee is $573. So that's money the employer can put back into their business bank account to eventually give back to the employees or to increase business profit as well. So who can we help with this? This is going to be any business with 5 or more full-time W-2 employees. We love 1099s, but unfortunately we are not in that scope as of right now. It could be something that we add later, but as of right now it is not. Companies frustrated with rising payroll costs. Companies frustrated with, this person comes to me every 6 months, asks for a raise, but I don't have money to give them. I don't know where to source that money. Perfect person to refer. Businesses that are needing to review their benefits in general. I have business partners. I have people that can help get you better benefits with this in cohesive side as well. And then just employees wanting better retention. Wouldn't you love to not have an employee job hop? Wouldn't you love to have someone for 20, 40, 50 years rather than the average of 2.5, 3 years? So I want to go over now a case study with you. So this is a company that recently implemented our program, and as you can see in big bold letters here, a business increased their annual profits by $8,604 and increased staff salaries by $17,644. Just by signing up for our workplace benefits program, they were able to find an extra almost $18,000 to give back to their employees. That is insane for businesses. That is insane for people to comprehend, and I understand that. That's why I'm here as a Schooley Mitchell consultant to take your questions, to help you understand that and walk you through this process. So and I'll share this PowerPoint with you guys afterwards. For these two cost savings, what questions do you guys have? What burning concerns do you have about this too with Schooley Mitchell? Is it, oh, well, we signed up and what do we have to give you? How much of this time is it going to take me? On average, it's about 2 hours of your time in total per cost category. When we meet with our client relations team, it's a 20-minute meeting, making sure we get all of your individual contracts, invoices, and things that we need. Or if you're able to give us online access, that is the best way to get us possible for you. But now I'll open it up to the floor and see if you guys have any questions.
Who's the best person to talk to in an organization? Is the COO or the CEO?
That's a great question, and it really depends on the industry. So most industries, it's going to be the CFO, the controller, but some industries, it's the CEO because they're the one doing everything. Sometimes it's the accountant because they're the one in charge of the vendor relations. Or most times, for bigger companies and smaller companies, you'll find it's the head office person or the front desk receptionist, which takes a lot of their time where they're missing calls to help you make sure your phone system's working correctly. What other questions? Ginny?
Like the number of employees, can that be throughout different departments? I'm thinking big warehouse because they've got
Yep.
the warehouse and then the sales force. So
If it's all under one entity, that's something we can definitely do. And that's also something we can help people with. So let's say there's one person who has multiple businesses, correct? So they have a florist shop, they have a dry cleaner, they have a restaurant, they have this, but it's all under the same entity. And they're working with all these different vendors.
even if they have DBAs,
If they're all under the same entity, we can start from the very top and work our way down.
okay.
Even if it's separate, we can sign them all up on separate service agreements, but we can still sign them up if it's under one entity. That's one service agreement. That's one person we're dealing with. Now, there might be different people we're dealing with in terms of vendor communications, vendor management, and things of that nature, but it's one service agreement and one client for that nature.
Do you work with nonprofits?
I do work with nonprofits. The best thing about Schooley Mitchell, not industry limited. So the industries I mentioned today does not exclude nonprofits, churches, food banks, other charity organizations. They're,
Like the Moose, the Elks, the
Yep.
those
Yep.
memberships. right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And another thing too, governments, cities, townships, villages, that's also people we can help too.
Yeah. Okay.
Perfect. What other questions do you guys have? Well, if there are no other questions, go ahead.
I'm not quite sure how to ask this question. I don't even know what my question is.
Well, go ahead and ask it and we'll find a way.
Benefits.
Yes.
How does that work into like a company's already working with a benefit supplier or whatever they do? How do you work with them?
So it's just coexisting with that. So they have the choice of you can still use that person, or if you want to, we have this as well. It's not replacing it. It's as a conjunction with it.
Okay.
But costs $0 to do.
Yeah.
So again, an email is probably the best way to introduce you.
Email
Have-
is best way to introduce me. Yeah, email is best way to introduce me because then I can send some better information to that individual in terms of like a video, pamphlet, a flyer. Text messages do work okay if they're more on that type of referral basis. I do work with a lot of car dealerships, automobiles, trade industries, and they feel more comfortable with a text message because they're out doing whatever they're doing for 5 days. They're not looking at their email until Sunday night. So that's not the best way to communicate with me. I tailor myself to how my clients need me, and I do that with all of the businesses I work with and everybody that I work with.
Across states.
I am not limited to anybody.
I know I asked you that before. I haven't really.
I can work in Ohio, the U.S., and Canada. Our headquarters is actually based out of Ontario, Canada. So when you speak with our client relations and our analysts, they're actually based out of Canada. Right.
Do you happen to do anything with construction materials?
Construction materials, no, but I actually have an outside source from Schooley Mitchell that can help with that.
Okay, that might actually be really interesting.
Yeah, so I like to say that I'm not just here with Schooley Mitchell, I'm also your Angie's List. Don't go to Angie's List, come to Maci's List, because I'm 9 times out of 10 have somebody to connect you with or have somebody to help you with, whether that be my services or somebody else's services. That's what I'm trying to be here in Columbus and here in Ohio. I'm trying to be that mentor, that person, that go-to face that you see, and it's like, Maci knows that. I can connect you with Maci. What other questions?
What business is too small? Like,
A business that would be too small is anyone making less than $350,000 annually. What I can do here for everybody too, I have cost category minimums, and I can send those out to you so that you can use that, utilize that. So when you're talking to people and they're like, oh, I'm spending this much a month, you're like, oh my gosh, yep, you totally fit. Maci can help you. Let me talk to you. Or simply just doing the introduction, and I can digest and see if they're going to be a correct client for me as well.
we put them with him until they grow to 350 and then.
Exactly.
Or Caleb.
Well, and that's the other thing too. If you don't have those connections like Rohit or Caleb already, sending them to me, and then I'm going to send them to Rohit or Caleb. I have several clients that have.
Coach them up to 4 million.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, I need them here. Can you get them here for me? Perfect. What other burning questions? Perfect. Well, I appreciate everyone coming. I will leave it open to networking now, so I really appreciate